Hey, thanks for joining me. Many of you know I'm a real fan of Opinel knives, and I've done a couple of videos about them. You know, their number 8 is just a classic. I think that's probably their most popular one. But I decided to buy one the other day that's a little bit different. It is the number 7 garlic, actually it's chestnut and garlic knife. So this has a very short little blade and kind of a, I guess, a hawkbill blade. So this is, I think, going to be a really useful knife. We're going to put it on the bench here so you can take a look at it and see, and we can talk about what some of its uses are. And you know, we'll talk about maybe its strengths and its weaknesses. But yeah, the Opinel chestnut and garlic knife. They also have it listed in some of their web pages as a striking knife or a marking knife, something like that. And they also kind of market it as a whittling knife. So got a lot of uses. I think I'm going to be using this knife a lot. Well, let's take a look. Hey, before we do get started, a couple things. Number one, if you haven't watched my last video on my favorite EDC Barlow knife for EDC, definitely want to go watch that because there's a giveaway in that video. I'm giving away this Gerber Mansfield. So if you haven't watched that video, I'll put a link in the description down below, but make sure you look at that last video and get in on that giveaway. That giveaway expires tomorrow evening at 5 p.m. That'll be the 30th. I'm sorry, Monday evening. This is Saturday. Monday evening, the 30th at 5 p.m. Central Time. So you got a day or two. If you haven't seen that video, make sure you go watch it and get the information on the giveaway and enter that giveaway. You don't want to miss out on that. And as always, before we get started, if you would, please click on the like and subscribe buttons. And let's take a look at this chestnut and garlic knife. Okay, let's take a look. As I've mentioned, I am a pretty big fan of the Opinel knives. I think the first one I got was this number 7 in carbon steel. And you know, it's they're just, you know, when I first got an Opinel, I kind of questioned, you know, how durable the knife would be, you know, that based on the fact that the knife is, you know, it's got a wooden handle and there's no metal. I mean, the blade is mounted in wood, and it's, you know, their standard one is beech, and they use some other woods, but time has shown me, and as well as reviews from other people, that they work out quite well. The blades stay snug in them, and they're quite durable. Some of these knives, you'll find them, you know, that are, well, they've been making them for a long, long time, and some of them, very old ones, are still serviceable. So anyway, and then I got, I think this was the next one, was a number 8 in carbon steel, and basically the same thing. I always forget to remember to unlock it before I open it. And I've tried to get in the habit of locking these when they're closed so that if I stick one in my pocket it doesn't come open, which is an important thing. Anyway, and then I got this one that says basically the same knife in stainless steel. And then I got this number 8 garden knife, which is a different blade profile and different handle profile. To be honest, I liked this handle shape better. I've often thought about buying an Opinel just to take the handle off of it, but I kind of hate to ruin a knife just to get the handle, so maybe I'll make a handle. Anyway, so this is the garden knife. I've done a video about it. It's a really useful knife. But the latest one is this little guy. It's a number 7, so it's a little bit smaller in size. Got the same locking mechanism, and the blade is a short little hawkbill blade. And you know, it's got a concave edge, which I don't really mind it. It does have its challenges with sharpening. I've got a ceramic sharpening rod, kind of like a steel, but it's ceramic, and it's a little bigger in diameter. And so you know, it'll work for this. I found that I can use a flat stone on this. I just kind of have to work on the edge of the stone, and I can sharpen with it. So short little blade. It is let's see if we can get this to focus. It's their inox stainless steel. And so their stainless steel for these is a 12C27 Sandvik steel, the same steel that Mora uses in some of their, actually most of their stainless steel Mora knives use the same steel. It's a decent steel. It performs pretty well. Would I like this better in carbon? No, not necessarily. I mean, I don't mind the stainless steel at all. If they made one in carbon, I might get it, but you know, this is I think going to be just fine. And so, you know, let's talk about some uses. This is actually made for opening up chestnuts and, you know, separating cloves of garlic and peeling garlic. And, you know, maybe it's useful for that. They also market it as a marking knife. So if you were to have some wood you were want to mark, you know, you could put a ruler on it and you could scribe a line with it. And a lot of woodworkers do that because you get a very precise line in the wood. And so it definitely would work well for that. It's also marketed as a whittling knife, you know, so if you're wanting to whittle with it, you definitely could. I think the drawback would be in, I don't really have a tight curve here, but if you had something with a really tight radius, the width of this blade might make it hard to follow a tight radius. So the front to back dimension might be a little broad here for tight radiuses. But for a lot of things like spoons and whatnot, where that, you know, you're not really necessarily using, you know, really tight curves, you could probably use this quite handily. So I think it'll definitely have some use in that way. I think it's going to find a lot of different uses in my workshop, like I say, as a marking knife for doing some whittling tasks. You know, if I'm carving the heel on a guitar neck or something like that, it definitely would be a good knife for that. So I think the real limitation as a whittling knife is this depth of the blade here. Other than that, I think it probably worked quite well. And I think that's probably where it's going to get a lot of use for me. One of the interesting things about this knife is that being a chestnut and garlic knife, the wood that this is made of is actually made of chestnut, which is kind of cool. Their normal handle material is beech. They also offer other options like walnut and olive and some other things, and even some you know, polymer materials, but it's made of chestnut, which is kind of cool. Anyway, that is the Opinel chestnut and garlic knife. I think it's going to be real useful. And of course, it's an Opinel, which that makes it kind of cool. Well, there you go. The Opinel chestnut and garlic knife. Really kind of a unique knife. One that Opinel, like I say, they've listed it in a few different ways that it can be used. We don't really have chestnuts here in Oklahoma, but definitely useful for garlic. I think I'm not going to probably end up using this too much in the kitchen. I think this is really going to be in my workshop, but workshop as a marking knife for whittling tasks, and just a variety of things. I think this might be good even out in the garden for harvesting with that kind of, you know, concave edge. So, you know, I think it's going to be a very useful knife, and I think I'm going to enjoy using it. And like all the Opinels, it's very affordable. I think it was $22 on Amazon, and so you definitely want to maybe take a look at one of these if you have some uses for it. Anyway, as always, I always appreciate you watching my videos. If you have any thoughts or questions, or you know, have any suggestions or ideas how this knife might be used, please leave me a comment. And as always, thanks for watching.